you guys have been sort of in this identity business for a number of years. Now it seems more important front and center for many reasons. But tell us sort of why identity matters and what that means and sort of what the Merkle integrated offering means.
Yeah, I think it's become more front and center because, to give a brief history lesson, the world of identity has been a really third-party sort of conversation in the past. Third-party cookies, device IDs, things that could be sort of rented, right? And sort of managed by a few companies that maintain these big identity graphs with cookie deprecation, with increasing consumer privacy regulation, depending on which market we're talking about. The ability to kind of rely on these third-party identifiers is obviously becoming obsolete, right? So the conversation is needing to shift inherently for the buy and the sell side of the equation, the clients, right, the brands and the publishers to take ownership of their own identity, which is primarily based on first-party data as we go forward. Now we're in a little bit of a transition point, so I can't make unilateral, claims about it right now, but we are transitioning towards a world in which brand and publisher ownership of first-party identity is going to be the key to maintaining addressability in the ecosystem. That's, I think, what's got everybody really focused on it.
So, John, could you just explain a little bit about the identity graph about M1 and sort of your secret sauce, what you guys bring to the table, Dentsu overall, and then how that works with Source, the Source platform at MediaMath?
Yeah, we actually call the underlying technology, Andy, the Mercury platform, and M1 is the sort of platform that the agency side of Dentsu has built on top of that. Mercury we make available to the entire ecosystem. It's totally open to anyone on the buy or the sell side. that graph or that identity platform is first based in every known individual 18 plus, right? I'm just gonna talk about the US for the moment. 18 plus at a name and address level, every household in the US, 96% plus coverage. So we sort of start with a truth set, which is everybody, right, at a known level. We also have a lot of email addresses associated with those individuals. That then connects to the digital side of our graph, where we connect those known individuals to device identifiers, whether those are third-party cookies, device IDs, maids, that sort of thing. And that's been kind of the name of the game for a long time. For us, the change is we acquired a company recently called Foresight Marketing, and I won't give a big background on those guys other than to say they brought us a first-party ID graph engine, right, that we've incorporated into Mercury, and that enables us to build an ID graph out of signals that are based on first-party web traffic, email traffic, everything that happens through a client or a publisher's email service provider. And we use lots of other non-cookie signals, right, to build scale on top of that. And we build that on the buy side, on the advertiser side, the marketer side. They can use it for personalization. They use it for multi-channel purposes, not just advertising. But they certainly use it to build their audiences and so forth for advertising. And then we replicate a mirror image of that first-party graph on the publisher side. And we create the ability for those two things to meet in the middle, right? And that's how we maintain the idea of audience-based advertising, identity-based advertising, and we don't utilize cookies, right, in the center of that transaction anymore, out of obvious necessity. So that's, in a nutshell, how we've built that process. The only other thing I was just saying real quick, Andy, is it's not a black box, right? So we don't make clients dependent on our ID. That ID in its raw data, we pass to our clients. They can use it for whatever they want.
So, John, tell us about the arrangement with MediaMath, sort of kind of the pieces of it and the implications for the industry.
Yeah, so we have just found MediaMath to be a particularly like-minded tech partner. We obviously maintain a lot of different tech partnerships on the demand side and the supply side. platform ecosystem, but the sort of ethos of Source, right? And Joe and his team's sort of commitment to it being really open and transparent, right? Sort of to oversimplify Source, right? Like there's no opaque, sort of supply chain here, right? The marketers can go in and see how all the different pieces connect and where all the handoffs are. That applies not just to the programmatic sort of bidding pipes, but it applies to the identity pieces as well, right? So with Source, MediaMath sort of welcomes us to say, hey, bring your Mercury ID, right, into Source, and we will use it, being a cookieless ID, right, as the currency that we're using that we allow advertisers to use to manage reach and frequency, right? And I'll just quickly contrast that with a lot of the old onboarding solutions of people, onboarding CRM lists into the cookie space. There's a big hop that goes on, right? Where you lose traceability back to that individual known person. And now you're bidding on these sort of DSP cookies, right? And that creates sort of this black box. What MediaMath has said is, hey, look, we're not interested in a black box, right? We're interested in that Mercury ID, that person ID being the thing we manage reach and frequency on. And that's a huge step forward. It's not the end game, right? There's still more work to do in the ecosystem, but it's a huge step forward to truly identity-based programmatic.